Well, back again? You thought we were done last episode, didn't you? Ha ha ha! No way, this is the last episode of the Just Know HOA series, guys. Welcome, it's your boy Marky, back at it again with some more Just Know HOA. Now this has been a beautifully written series so far, and I'm gonna go looking for more stories like this in the future. But this has been 6 days in a row of Just Know HOA, and there definitely needs to be other content covered. With all that out of the way, guys, I hope you're enjoying this series. This is the last episode. Tell me what you think about it afterwards. Let's get right into it, guys. Recalled and removed our tyrannical HOA board, Part 7. Postscript / McFife shows that you can't keep a good kook down. Needless to say, my experiences living in HOAs were not positive ones. Board positions are a magnet for every little would-be dictator to live out their fantasies, to abuse their power. HOAs also seem to bring out the worst in human nature. I think that the way my wife described it was petty judgmental bickering. In our case, the board's attitude was, only we know what is best for the community. You people are too stupid to know what's good for you. Just give us your money, shut the frick up, and do as you're told. They convince themselves that they are in the right, and so like religious zealots, any action is justifiable, because to them, the ends justify the means. The nexus of all the issues came down to McFife. His minions were incapable of really accomplishing anything on their own, and simply just followed his directives. The guy genuinely has something wrong with him mentally. He goes through life bullying, blustering, conning, and intimidating people into doing what he wants. He goes around with an arrogant air of superiority as if he knows it all and is the smartest person in the room, when the reality is, he may as well be the dumbest. But he's able to con a lot of people because they think, oh, he seems pretty confident and acts like he really knows what he's doing. Ha ha ha. Ah. If you call him out and stand up to him, he has no answer because he really doesn't know what he's doing and doesn't understand what you're saying. When I quoted the bylaws, CC and DAS, and state statutes pointing out that what he was doing was invalid, he just shut down, and his answer was, "This was not up for discussion." In other words, why can't you just shut up and do like what I say like everyone else does? He's so arrogant and out of control that at one point he was actually trying to argue HOA law with the HOA attorney. Yeah, let's see how that one goes, buddy. That's a huge brain idea. Once he got booted from the board and he lost his power base, watching him have a meltdown was like watching someone with OCD who can't perform their rituals, or like watching the reactor core in Chernobyl. This guy seemed to totally lose it. It had nothing to do with doing what is best for the community. Ultimately, it was all about feeding their egos, abusing their power, and controlling, dominating, and micromanaging the lives and the property of everyone in the community. This guy and his minions will continue to be a nuisance for everyone living there for years to come. Once we moved, I figured that was the last I would hear about the old HOA. Well, 6 months later, I got an email from one of our old neighbors. He wanted the name of the HOA attorney that we had to hire to help us oust the old board before we moved. Apparently, according to him, the new board was now slowly starting to resemble the old one. New rules, new fines, selective enforcement, holding meetings with the minimum of notice to the community in the hope that no one will show up, creatively manipulating the rules to serve their own personal agenda, etc. He feels that it's slowly going to blow up again, and eventually end up in court, so he figures that he better get in touch with an attorney sooner rather than later. This current situation does not surprise me at all, and was part of the reason that we moved. I was concerned that once a new board took control, that eventually down the road it was just going to be more of the same. I was already beginning to hear rumors and grumblings of discontent just before we sold. I'm convinced that some of these people will never be happy with any board that is elected over there. The only board that they could be happy with is the one they are president of, and even then, they would complain about all of the work that they had to do. New people get on the board. They've each got their own agendas, personal grudges, pet peeves, etc. They let the position go to their heads, and before long, they set about quote-unquote fixing things and want to rule over the community with an iron fist, because a dictatorship is okay, as long as you're the one in control. The more things change, the more they stay the same in HOA land. It's a broken system, a failed experiment, and a further confirmation of the Petri dish principle that I posted about earlier. If years ago I knew what I know now about HOAs, I never would have bought a house in one. Screw HOAs. Never, ever again. Edit. After I wrote all of the above, but just before I had the chance to post it, just yesterday, I heard from some of our old neighbors. Apparently, McFife, frustrated at the fact that he and any of his minions have been unable to get back on the board, has just put his protest website back up. But at least this time, he was smart enough to be a bit more low-key than the off-the-wall lunacy that he had up before. Back when we still lived there, McFife moved his office into the vacant office space next door to the management company so that he could spy on them. My wife was on the board and said that she was sure that he was listening in on the management company because he was addressing things in meetings that she had talked to them about on the phone. So how else could he have known any of this? People thought that she was just being paranoid, but apparently not, because since then, the management company has had to install a noise-cancelling device in their office. And now the latest is that he cost them $1,800 last year in legal fees, trying to sue the management company and the board. Somehow, I'm not missing any of this. And, oh yeah, one more thing. Screw HOAs! Thank you for all the comments, 99% of which were positive. Most of what I posted took place a good 2 years ago, but I was so disgusted and irritated about the whole experience that it took that long before I even wanted to think about any of it again, let alone write about it. My main goal was to get one last good rant out, and figured that this would be a good place to do it. If any of this helps, even one person avoid having to deal with any of this kind of nonsense, I figured that it was kind of worth posting about. My apologies for any irritation that taking several days to get it all written up and posted may have caused. I wasn't expecting much of a response and figured that maybe I'd get 25 to 30 upvotes and a few comments, and that's about it. So I imagined that I'd get it all written up and posted when I got around to it. After seeing a few comments from people complaining about it taking several days, I made sure to get the rest of it completed and up as soon as I could, but I couldn't post what I hadn't actually finished writing yet, and I still had to go back and check some of the old newsletters again to make sure that I got the timeline and the facts straight. Alright, now some comments and replies from OP to round out the video. Some random guy says, "Why couldn't you get things disbanded at the height of everyone's dissatisfaction?" I'm guessing there was a reason. Sounds like it's something you'd have done if you could. It was suggested to dissolve the HOA years earlier when the previous board was removed, but they couldn't garner the support for it then, and I doubted that we could do it either when we were removing the board. I'm not motivated to dig through the old paperwork, but as I recall, we would have needed a supermajority of something like 85%, or more, probably more, out of 99 houses to dissolve the HOA, and I couldn't see how we were going to be able to get that accomplished. Flying Over High Over says, "Opie, what a rollercoaster ride you and your wife have been through. I mean, we have life's problems to deal with already, but now having to contend with this too? I just want to say, wow, you stuck it out till the very end. That's some resolve there. Most people would have given up way early. If you don't mind me requesting, could you perhaps post a page or two of those infamous defamatory newsletters that came in the mail? Just want to get an idea of what it felt like to read those. You can mask out your names if you want to, only if you want to post it here of course. If doing that puts you in jeopardy somehow, then please don't. Apologies, cheers OP." And OP replied, "Every time that we seemed to have reined them in, a few months would pass, and then they would be back at it twice as bad as the last time. We reached a certain point of time and investment that we personally weren't going to back down. By the time that the recall election finally was held, we had already made an offer on another house. But since we made the commitments, everyone in the community, that we would get them out, we felt that the right thing to do was to see it out to the very end. Also, there was a certain amount of satisfaction in seeing them removed and everything they had tried, implemented, reversed. There's no mention about the newspaper here, which is sad. I would have loved to see that, but hey, that was a direct response to what that person was asking, and cool, they gave us even more stuff to go with. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode today. Tell me what you think about it down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think of this 6-part video series. This has been a good one. If I find any others, I'm definitely down to do them. But I know from r/legal advice, some of you don't like cliffhangers. But hey, you know, that's it's life sometimes. Sometimes we just gotta make 6, 10 to 15 minute video series. What can you say, you know? Anyway, I love your faces, and I'll see you in the next episode, guys. Bye.